Now that, it's been almost a week since they made this selection, give me your thoughts on Cade Klubnik being a New York Jet.
So I'll give you a little bit of lore background here. So Meigs and I, during last season, did a college quarterback roundup every week because we thought we were probably going to be in a position to take a quarterback. And so we were reviewing the top 5 to 7 guys every week and what their performance was. Probably about week 2 or 3 of the NCAA season last year, Meigs was like, I don't want to talk about Cade Klubnik anymore. Take him off this list. I'm not willing to talk about him. He sucks. I've had enough. I've seen enough. Now, fast forward, we do the draft guide. Meigs draws Cade Klubnik to watch the tape for. So Meigs writes up the scouting report. He does all that. And it reinforces everything he thought. He's like, I watched the tape again. I hate Cade Klubnik. This is not an NFL player. He shouldn't be picked in the draft. So we're on the stream, and we've made the decision collectively that we are not going to spoil the picks. We're not going to look at Twitter. We're going to wait for it on our TV, and then we're going to react to it. And Meigs at some point looks down at his phone, and he like melts down. And everybody's like, don't spoil the pick. Don't spoil the pick. And I know Meigs because he's my partner. And so like I saw his face and I was like, dude, it's Cade Klubnik, isn't it? And he just like generational crash out. He lost his mind. And I think we all kind of did a little bit, mostly because of the trade up. We weren't supposed to be on the clock. It came out of nowhere. And yeah, so I'll clip the video for you and I'll text it to you later to show you, so you don't have to wait through the whole stream. But yeah, man, it was not good. Look, as far as the player goes, I have to be honest here. When I was talking about Garrett Nussmeier, I was saying, if all you're asking Garrett Nussmeier to do is be a backup quarterback, that's fine. It changes the math on how you're viewing that pick in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, whenever. And Garrett Nussmeier didn't end up going until the 7th. Side note, it's kind of funny that he might take Justin Fields' job. But regardless, we were wrong about Garrett Nussmeier. He went in the 7th round. The NFL didn't value him the same way that we did. Fine.
I think there was some injury stuff too. Clearly.
Yeah, the cyst on his spine and all that. People must have thought that was worse than it is, or that's worse than we knew. And so it would be unfair for me to evaluate Nussmeier that way and then get all over Cade Klubnik and say, this is not an NFL quarterback, right? Because we're asking the same thing of him. He's a backup quarterback. I don't think there's any plans for him to be the future quarterback of the Jets. But that being said, you watch the tape, and this is a player who's been very hyped for a very long time. He was a big recruit coming out of high school. And just for 4 years at Clemson, like it just never really came through. Everybody's quick to tell you, the people who are going to be very positive about every draft pick, which I have been in the past, so I get it. They're going to be very quick to tell you, look at his 24 tape. And I will tell you that the 24 numbers look okay. Like I think he had like 26 touchdowns and 6 interceptions or something.
36. We did a 2024 tape review with me and Joe Blewett on the show the other day. And Joe said it's clearly a lot better, but there's still some clear things that would cause you to have some concern with him ever being a viable long-term starter.
Yeah, so the biggest difference, I think, is the confidence. And he played with confidence in 24. That's true. But the errors he was making were still very much the same. And so you take kind of the flawed player that isn't a finished product yet, and then whatever happened in 25, now you take his confidence away, and it looked bad. And it looked, to me, that the thing that keeps jumping off the film to me is it looks like Zach Wilson. He's running he's running backwards in the pocket. He's taking horrible sacks.
Same number.
Yeah. He's throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs into the flat that are 2 feet over the receiver's head. Like all the same little hallmarks of Zach Wilson. And that, for a Jets fan, that's poison. That scares me. So like I'm running in the other direction from this. I hope it's not something that we have to see. But to get back to my original point, if all we're asking him to do is be a backup quarterback, and if he can enter it with that mentality of like, I need to learn the offense, I need to study, I need to be ready for if and when I do get called into action, cool. I don't want to get all over the kid. And obviously I'm rooting for him to succeed. It just scares me. That's all.
I think that's all fair. Now, let me ask you this. I want him just to be QB2, have him, Bailey Zappi compete, and let's call it a day. It will be rigged for Klubnik to win it, or if Zappi starts the year as the second quarterback, if Geno actually does go down or the Jets are out of it, I don't think they'd go to Zappi. I think they'd go to Klubnik at that point. That's what I want to do. I have no interest in Russell Wilson or bringing back Tyra. This team's not trying to contend this year. Like, this is not with Rodgers, where you clearly needed to have a legit backup because that team was ready to win. I don't see the point in bringing in a different quarterback. I want, if we're out of it or Geno gets hurt, I want to give Klubnik a chance to play, so at least I can form some sort of evaluation on him before I have 3 first-round picks in 2027. What are your thoughts on the QB room in general now going forward?
I see your point. I don't know if I'm there yet with you. I definitely don't want Russell Wilson. That I'll say easily, hands down. Like, Russell Wilson goes into, I think I was on your show towards the end of the season, and we were talking about like Kyler Murray, and that was like a hard no for me. And there was another one out there that I was just a hard no on. Russell Wilson's in that same category. Like, that's just a person that I don't want associated with my team ever.
Mr. Not unlimited. Yeah, you got to be unlimited. You got to have a thought process of being unlimited.
You don't want that?
Do you have the diarrhea poop video queued up somewhere too?
I might have to pull that. I mean, did you see the clip of him at Yankee Stadium last week? He played for the Savannah Bananas. I thought this was AI edited.
Dude,
like,
Russell he looked like Wilson, somebody's fat uncle.
Oh, I did not realize this was real. Like, this is a real video of Russell Wilson in the year 2026. Like, he can't play quarterback anymore. Like, look at him. And then you'll see after he takes this cut here, him running down the line. How is this guy going to be a viable backup for any team in the league? He should go play in the UFL if he wants to keep playing. I don't even know if they would take him. Like, he was awful last year with the Giants. I know he had that great game against Dallas, but my grandma could have thrown for 400 yards against that Cowboys defense. That was it. And then Dable couldn't wait to bench him, 2 weeks later after he had that terrible game against Kansas City. So I just, like, look at this. I thought this was AI edited.
Me too. My gut reaction when I first saw that video was, is this real? That was the first thing I thought. He looks like he's got like Mike McCarthy's body. And yeah, he also, like, I don't think he has a reputation of being a good guy who's willing to help. Right. And it's not that Geno needs mentoring anymore. Geno's in his 30s. We're fine. We don't need the young quarterback mentor. But, like, I just don't think he's like a hold the clipboard and help guy. So I guess what you're asking of Russell Wilson, if you bring him here, is to help teach Cade Klubnik how to watch the NFL game and how to learn from the NFL game. And I don't know if there's value in that to me. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, this whole myth about Russell Wilson falling off a cliff is not true. And they just listed out his stats from like his last year in Denver, his year in Pittsburgh, his year with the Giants, and like the stats from each one. And the stats don't tell the whole story there. Like that on tape, it didn't look right. It didn't look the same. And look, I respect Geno for being like, this is a person who mentored me and helped me become a starting quarterback in the NFL and trying to get him a job. But I also don't think that Geno Smith should be having personnel input on this team. And so none of that interests me. As far as like your greater question, I don't know if I'm ready to say I want Cade Klubnik to be QB2. If you tell me it's Bailey Zappi, I probably don't feel great about it, but I'm like, this is at least a person who's taken NFL snaps before.
He's won some games before too. Like, you look at his numbers, it's not as bad as what people think. Like, you hear the name Bailey Zappi. Like, he had some moments in New England where he actually looked like a competent player.
He did. And it was in New England. So part of that, like, New England players have always been hard to evaluate outside of New England because of whatever they had going on up there at the time. Various different cheating scandals and all kinds of other things going on. Always
there's some real cheating scandals going on there now.
Exactly. It's just the latest chapter. So yeah, I think right now I'm team go get a veteran and not Russell Wilson. Cooper Rush doesn't excite me very much. Tyrod would, but again, like with Tyrod, he's going to get hurt too. So if Geno really does get hurt and Tyrod comes in, like, he's going to get hurt too. And now you need a QB3 also. So it almost kind of creates another problem when you bring Tyrod back. But I just don't want to go into tank mode like we did with Brady Cook last year, where nothing can be evaluated, nobody's producing, and we are, scoring 3 points a game, and it's painful to watch. Like, I don't know if I can sit through that again. And so if it were me, I'd probably want to bring in a veteran of some kind.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throw in some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And we can say the same thing at backup quarterback, right? We talked about Russell Wilson this week. Sounds like he's still in play for the Jets, but there also was a story that came out today that Russell Wilson's being considered for a job at CBS as an analyst or being part of their NFL Today studio show. So Russ might want to do TV and retire from football. I hope he does. If you guys watch this show, you know that while I respect the person Russell Wilson is, I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's shot. I don't think he can play anymore. And I want nothing to do with Russell Wilson in the year 2026. All right, I'm good on Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Yeah, you got to be unlimited. You got to have a thought process of being unlimited.
Like, I'm okay on not signing Russell Wilson. The backup quarterback situation is another thing that obviously we will follow beyond just Russ. Could Tyrod Taylor be in play? I mean, I guess Rich Cimini did say on my Jets Collective podcast with him that he doesn't think they're going to bring Tyrod back. The Jets know he's got the serious knee problems. He just can't stay healthy. Like, if you bring in Tyrod, oh, you want a backup in case Geno goes down. Well, then Tyrod, is going to go down. And then you're going to be playing Cade Klubnik anyway. So I will continue to propose the New York Jets going into the year with Bailey Zappi as the backup and Klubnik as the number 3. Go look at the numbers on Zappi. Go look at some of his performances he's had in the league. You can't sit here and tell me that he's not just as good as whatever Russell Wilson would give you. And Tyrod. Like, Tyrod, unfortunately, can't stay healthy. I'd go into the year with those guys. I would. Because the bottom line is, if Cade Klubnik is ever going to have a chance to play for the Jets, you're going to have to find out in all likelihood this year. Because if the Jets are bad, guess what? They're drafting a quarterback. And if they're bad, the head coach is probably not here. And the OC is probably not here. The OC had a major say in the team trading up for Klubnik in the first place. So I want to just get some sort of idea on what Cade Klubnik is. I don't think he's the long-term answer, but I got to have some sort of feel for the guy. Can he maybe develop into a viable backup? So I rather Klubnik just play. Like, the sooner Klubnik's the number 2, the better. Now, I hope Geno Smith balls out, gives us the 2015 Ryan Fitzpatrick season all over again. But if the Jets fall out of it and their win total is at 5.5, what are we doing here? At some point they're going to be out of it, and I'd want to see the rookie play than Russell Wilson or Tyrod Taylor and Bailey Zappi. Like, we could just expedite the process here because we all know how this goes. Other than, ironically, the 2024 season where Rodgers started all 17 games, when you're a Jet quarterback, you're going to play. It doesn't matter what spot you are on the depth chart. I went to a game where Chris Strebler went out there and threw ducks and had a better performance than Zach Wilson did that night. I was there. That was an infamous Jake Asman ran after that one. The infamous he stinks ran. All right, I've seen the worst of the worst. We all have. The Tim Boyles, Trevor Siemian. These guys all play last year. I mean, Brady Cook, it's enough. So let's just get it over with. All right? That's how I look at it. Let's just get it over with. HXC Dude checks in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, HX. He goes, I understand the concerns with Klubnik, but he also wasn't the number 2 overall pick, so comparing him to Zach Wilson is unfair. Extremely different circumstances here.
It is a fair comment, but I want to, maybe I should qualify my comparison. My comparison to Zach is not necessarily the expectations. My comparison to Zach is just like what I saw with my eyes. Like I watched him and I was like, my God, that looks like Zach Wilson. And I think potentially if you put Cade Klubnik at BYU playing against BYU opponents, he might be the number 2 overall pick, right? And so like he was thought of as a top 5 pick at one point. Again, top recruit out of high school. Like this was somebody who had like manifest destiny, top 10 quarterback pick in the NFL, written all over him for years, and it just never materialized. And so while Zach was a guy who kind of came out of nowhere, had a COVID year against weak schedule, and then vaulted himself into that number 2, Cade Klubnik is kind of the opposite, where he was always supposed to be there, and then he kind of played himself out of that. But as far as a player goes and what you're seeing on the field, I do think they're similar. Maybe it's not a fair comparison, but I just see it.
Lou B with a super chat. What player do you think will get the number 1 jersey? Didn't I see some rumblings that Azareye'h Thomas might be changing his number to rock the number 1, which is going to confuse a lot of people who don't pay attention to the Jets year round, like you and I do, and many watching my show right now. That hey, Sauce is back on the Jets. What?
Yeah, especially if he throws the visor on and he gets some of the other like the armband swag going on, he might look exactly the same. I did hear that about AZ Thomas. I would think that Pons would fit it well too, but Pons should probably wear 31 if David Bailey's not wearing 31.
Well, that's the thing. Who wears 31? Bailey wants to just keep doing what he did in college, the no gloves, the old school look. He should be 31. Pons is tricky because he wore 5 in college. Obviously, 5's unavailable with the Jets. I think 25 could be open if he wants to still have 5 in his number.
Go take the Kerry Rhodes jersey. I'll tell you what I want. The biggest jersey opinion I have about the drafted players is I think Sadiq would be a great single 0. I know Braylon Allen has that, but like, who cares? Like, I think Sadiq, like, pay Braylon Allen what you need to.
I feel good too about the Jets, man. How could you? This draft gave us hope. We wanted 4 starters in the first 4 picks. We got it. It was, I'm not going to repeat everything you've said the last couple of days. I feel the exact same way with when Sadiq was picked. You want the receiver. We got Cooper, and it's just like, man, you add D'Angelo Pons to the mix, and it's just, what a draft. And even the day 3 pick, everyone can keep the Klubnik shit is driving me crazy. I am not sitting here saying that Cade Klubnik is the future, right? But if you go through, like, just from an NFL program, how they run their shit, if you go through the past couple of years of who was drafted on day 2 and day 3, like Meigs, who's losing his mind. I want to go back and see what Meigs said about, Dylan Gabriel, or when people like Jalen Milroe had hype, or Spencer Rattler had hype, or Levis had hype, or these guys who had hype like going into the draft because they had a more better previous year. You know what I mean? Like, this draft we had was special in terms of it was different. We had all the players on the screen last year: Klubnik, Drew Aller, who else got picked? Who went back? Lenore Sellers went back. Archie went back. We had Carson Beck come out. These are all guys that were on the screen for us to draft in the first round last year. And it was a really weird year where none of them were picked in the first round. It was Mendoza.
Well, can I tell you this, Bonesy? You mentioned a bunch of quarterbacks. I'm already focused on a quarterback who won't be eligible to be drafted till 2033.
Hot. Hot. Now. Hot.
The March for Marsh is on.
You're funny, man. Already. That's funny. But long story short, there's so many quarterbacks drafted on day 2 or day 3, and especially if go through the 4th round picks. Not last year because it was like Shador in the 5th, but the year prior it was Stetson Bennett, Jake Hadner, Aiden O'Donnell, Dorian Thompson. Who are these guys? Were these guys the people who were like, oh my God, they're gonna, they were 1st round picks the year prior? No, this is what happens in the 4th round with quarterbacks. People I get you should be so excited that we had a guy that we've been connections to the year prior. They wanted him. They went and got him. That excites me more than getting mad that we could have got more people in the 4th round. How many 4th round picks hit? Like, people still talking about, especially when I watch like how Meeks, I would love to know Meeks's look on like Sean Clifford or Jaron Hall or all these guys that are drafted in the 4th round by good teams like San Francisco and Green Bay. What were you saying about them? Like, was that a terrible pick? Who are these guys? You don't even know them. Like, it's just 4th round quarterbacks don't have the potential that Klubnik had last year. That's all I'm saying, is that this draft was different, where we had a lot of players who didn't perform. Who cares why? Injury, offensive line hurt. They have excuses, right? All of them have excuses. But they all fell, and it's like, hey, it's a nice dart throw. That's what we need in New York. We need a guy with no pressure. We don't want to draft a guy in the 1st or 2nd round.
It sounds like I need to get Meigs on the show so you could have a rumble with him.
I'm just saying, when people are so down on the guy, it's just like, I would love to know what you had to say about all these. What'd you have to say about Will Levis when he slipped to round 2? Were you hyped about him? Who's Will Levis now? Like, quarterbacks, you miss all the time. So to be so strong about someone sucking is just like, yo. Last year he was supposed to be a top 3 pick. Like, relax. Like, he maybe we can tap into something. We wanted him. We went and got him. These coaches that are on our team, this is it for them.